Welcome back, Camden Catholic. All right, so I believe we got somewhere around here today. For some of my classes you did, for a couple of them you may not, but we'll figure it out. It'll be all right. I'm pretty confident every class is made to this point today, all right? So really appreciate all the work y'all been doing. Y'all been really kicking butt, but let's keep getting after it, all right, shall we? Now, again, to clarify, there are a lot of names for these wars. A lot of historians like to say there's two wars and an invasion. A lot of people like to say whatever. To make this simpler, really quick, somewhere in your notes really quick, and we'll clean it all up tomorrow to make sure you completely understand, okay? Let's just call it the revolt, the Ionian Revolt, first Persian invasion, second Persian invasion, all right? Because I was talking about it in class today with my first and eighth period. Shout out to my first and eighth period, all right? You guys were killing it today in front of the shadows. Really appreciate it. And it just kind of sensed like some kids were a little bit confused, all right? So if we backtrack a little bit and we go to, like, let's see, in your notes, right? So where this part ends, okay, and if you didn't get this slide, all right, go ahead and pause it really quick. Jot that down, all right? Now, it says the First Persian War, right? Where this ends right here, where we say Darius the First of Persia has crushed the rebellion, leaves Athens alone, but Darius is furious, right? I know we didn't say furious in class, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, now, so that is the Ionian Revolt, right? So just like draw a bracket and be like Ionian Revolt. Then when you see this in your notes, right, where we get to cause, revenge for Athenian interference, all the way up to right here, results, build fleet, faster ships, prepare for another attack, Athens asks other city-states to form an alliance, first time ever in Greek history. Let's call that the first Persian invasion, all right? This will, seriously, if you just do this, it'll clean everything up, right? So, and then right here, where we start in this flip today, call this the second Persian invasion, which ironically enough is what a lot of different historians are beginning to refer to it as, because wars kind of have deliberate, we declare war on you, start, end dates, things like that. These are much more Persia trying to envelop people into their empire. Now, to keep in mind really quickly, just a heads up, remember the Persians preached tolerance and things like that. They had actually early on sent emissaries to Sparta and Athens saying, if you kneel before the Persian Empire, we won't come and destroy you. But the Athenians and the Spartans would stand up to them, right? We know that this first Persian invasion, or what I said was like the war or whatever, actually resulted in Athens luckily winning that battle due to the fact that there was a beachhead and the Athenians punched him in the mouth, killed like 6,000 Persians, right? Major shifting point. There were a couple of other smaller battles, but they survived and weathered that storm. Now, in the second Persian invasion, the cause is the fact that the Persians want revenge and they come after Athens specifically. Sparta was not involved in the first Persian invasion due to the fact that they just refused to become involved and refused to send aid to Athens. When they finally did decide, all right, maybe we'll help Athens out a little bit, the battle was already over, and the Spartans were surprised to hear that they even won, right? So the Persians want revenge. So they want to come after Athens. They want to come by land, and they want to come by sea, all right? So they decide to send a fleet of Persian naval vessels as well as a large army contingent, right? And this is all under the direction of King Xerxes, right, of Persia, Xerxes, right, Xerxes. Craziest thing happened, actually. Xerxes had like a little inside source. A former Spartan king, actually, was stripped of his kingship and exiled out into the world because the Spartans were like, we won't kill you, but you can never come back here again. And he actually went to Persia and became an advisor to Darius I and later Xerxes, right? So Xerxes even had an upper hand. He had information on the Greeks that they didn't even actually know about, right? So a lot of major battles are going to come down, but what ended up happening is the Persians actually storm straight through Athens, right? Absolutely come wreck Athens, but before all that happens, the Spartans hear of this oncoming threat, and they decide to try and head the Persians off at a place called Thermopylae, right? So Thermopylae actually is a very cool battle due to the fact that the Spartans are actually going to use a lot of geographic things to help themselves out. So it actually looked like this. Thermopylae was actually on a rocky coastline where there was a mountain, right? And there was a tiny little strip of land right there. Only about as wide as about, we'll say, I think it was only wide as about, not even, I think like about 70 yards, right? So not very wide. You can only fit so many people through it, right? So it's a very narrow strip of land right on the edge of the Aegean Sea that the Spartans decided to do battle, right, with the Persians. And they actually were very successful. Now, a lot of myths actually say that there was only 300 Spartans and there were 1 million Persians. Not actually true, all right? So it's about 6,000 Spartans versus about 200,000 Persians, and the Spartans weathered the storm for several days, right? However, they would eventually be destroyed when they got outflanked by the Persians. The Persians will get past them at Thermopylae and then burn Athens to the ground, right? Underline that. So in a way, you could almost say that the Persians had the huge upper hand, right? All they had to do was seal the deal, go destroy Sparta, and bang, they control all of Greece. The world would be massively different as well. We would not have democracy. We would not have the art we use or the architecture or a lot of these different things, right? I'm not going to do that clip. But anyway, this right here is the come on. This right here is the path that the Persians are actually going to take to get after the Greeks, right? They actually started all the way right here near the island of Lesbos. I know it says, looks like it says Lesbos, but calm down. Anyway, now, so they actually moved all the way here, and the dotted lines are actually the troop movements, the land masses, and they moved together, burned Athens to the ground, but they would be stopped, actually, eventually, due to a naval interaction at the Strait of Salamis, right? We talked about it in class today, those big, big trireme ships, right, that the Athenians had built. While Athens was being burned, they actually moved their entire naval fleet and prepared themselves to duke it out with the Persians in the water, right? So it was called the Strait of Salamis. There was a battle against the Persian fleet, and the Persian fleet was completely sunk by the Athenians and their superior naval fleet, right? The Persians end up having to retreat their naval forces, and the Battle of Plataea a year later is actually when the Persian land forces were finally defeated. And then after the second Persian invasion, there are going to be subsequent things called the Delian Wars that we'll talk about in a second, where the Greeks just begin to push Persian influence out altogether, right? So the Persians just didn't get up and run home. They actually had a couple of strongholds in Greece left over, but the Greeks would actually work together to rid themselves of this. And that's the outcome of the second Persian invasion, right? The result is the fact that Athens is going to increase its status among the city-states, right? It will become like the virile leader of all the city-states in Greece. Athens also wants to build a permanent alliance with a lot of Greek city-states, right? But here's the thing, though. They wanted to be in charge of it. They felt that the Spartans did not win this war due to the fact that their land forces, yes, helped out at the Battle of Plataea, and the Thermopylae, honestly, was a huge blow to the Persian forces. And without that battle, the Persians would have crushed everyone, right? However, Sparta is not happy about this because they also feel like Athens is overstepping, right? Athens is also pushing the idea that this military alliance, you have to be a democracy, right? We're going to form this military alliance, and the Athenians even gave it a name. They called it the Delian League, right? The Delian League, and underline it a bunch of times. We have tons of military alliances that exist today that a lot of y'all don't even realize are actually a thing, right? The UN, the United Nations, is a military alliance. A lot of people say it's not, but in all actuality it is. So, and also, this alliance would be headed by the greatest Athenian leader that anybody had ever seen. This man was elected Archon 29 times in a row, right? His name is Pericles, okay? Go ahead and underline Pericles a couple times. We're going to talk about him a lot tomorrow, all right? He collects dues from all of the members, right? However, here's the problem. What's dues? What is a due? What is a due? Very nice job, Isabella. That's exactly right. Dues are like membership fees, right? You have to pay to be a part of this Delian League. You are paying for that protection, right? So here's the dicey thing about it. Athens is going to turn around, and instead of using that to grow their military force, they're going to use the money to rebuild their city. We're going to talk about why it's a little sketchy here in a little bit. Sparta is becoming increasingly jealous, and they're also, the Athenians are pushing the idea that the democracy is the only governmental system. Now, here's the thing. Spartans do not do democracy, right? Spartans are 2 kings, council of elders. We lead the military. That is all we do. We do not tire ourselves with the quibbles of arguing men, right? But here's the crazy part. This is what I need you to jot down, because this is what we're going to be getting into tomorrow. Here we go. We are now entering in to the golden age of Greece, known as the classical era, right? Classical Greece, right? So really quick, go ahead and write that title right there. We're going from wars to a golden age. The Persian invasions mark the end of the Archaic period and the entrance into the classical period, right? So now we're moving forward, and the classical period is the period following the Persian Wars, where they enter this idea of great new art and prosperity and things like that. Ironically enough, this is a Renaissance painting, and it's actually Roman, so just ignore this picture altogether, all right? So anyway, yep, there we go. So they enter the classical period, right? The classical period itself is a time when the Greeks achieved new heights in art, architecture, theater, and philosophy. Intelligence is overrunning in Greece. Led by the Athenians more than anything else, but we'll talk about why that is tomorrow, all right? We'll talk about why the Spartans weren't as involved in the classical period. They had some problems on their hands they had to take care of back on the home front, all right? But yeah, that's it for the day, all right? So I hope that we cleared everything up from class, and I hope we kind of got everything situated and in order. If any of you are having trouble kind of understanding the Persian conflicts themselves, come stop by anytime. I have 2nd, 5th, and 6th period free. All right, so if you need to come by and we'll like go through your notes together and make sure that you're where you need to be, more than happy with it, all right? So anyway, really, really fast, that is all right there. Make sure that you underline any people's names that you see. They're very, very important. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a good evening. See y'all then. Your map is not going to be due until Monday. Your map quiz isn't going to be until Thursday of next week, all right? As far as I know. If it changes, I'll let you know early, though. Y'all have a great evening. See you later.